Shalom Israel, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for preaching and teaching the truth. Shalom to the hopefully elect, beginning with 144,000. Shalom. So entitled this lesson, we are not in the second covenant yet. And I honestly don't understand how it's still Israelite camps out here that's claiming that we are in the second covenant. You know, if you're preaching that, obviously you don't know the scriptures. Secondly, the Heavenly Father can't be, dealing with you. And third, hey, you being a false teacher, man, you being a false prophet, But it's all part of the, end time signs and things of that such, right? So this is the book of 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. And it reads, but there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Right? And these people, these false prophets, these false teachers that's in the Israelites camps, the only thing they're doing is deceiving the people, man. And what costs with deceiving the people, you bringing destruction upon yourself, right? Because what it say, he said, even as there shall be false teachers among you. If you know the scriptures, you know that it says that we shall be in immortal bodies. We're still immortal bodies. We're still subjected to sin. We're still subjected to death, And when we get to the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have immortality. We're going to be immortals, immortality. Hey, we'll never have to worry about death ever again. We'll never have to worry about being sick ever again. That's the reason we get sick, have cancer, things of that such now. Because why? Because we're still in immortal bodies. We're still subjected to go off. We're still subjected to sin. When you sin, you can get sick. And sin also equals to death, And I'll just finish off verse 2. He's saying, many shall follow their apprentices' ways. I'm saying that right. He said, by reason of whom the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of, man. You got these other people, these brothers, even sisters out here that's following their ways, thinking that we're already in the second covenant, man. Well, that's not the case, So let's go back to Jeremiah. Chapter 31. And verse 31, and the read say, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made. And also, let's go back to verse 31, right? He say, and that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So when the Heavenly Father say with the house of Judah, they can either mean literally the tribe of Judah or the southern kingdom, or the southern kingdom. So let's continue on verse 32. He said, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, said the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, said the Lord Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts and write in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. So the Heavenly Father is saying that, and he can put the law in our inward parts and write it in our hearts, right? Continue on, verse 34. He's saying, they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, said the Lord Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. All right. So let's go back up to verse 33, right? Like he said, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. So that means that the law, we're going to know every single laws and commandments, man, once we get into the second covenant. The Heavenly Father will put the fear upon us to where we'll never sin again. Things of that such, right? It's like we're not even going to be able to sin even if we tried to, right? He said, and will be their power, their God, and they shall be my people. But verse 34, right? He's saying they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. So when we get into the kingdom, when we get into the second covenant, we won't have to go out on the highways and byways no more. We won't have to make lessons. We won't have to preach to our brothers and sisters and our close ones and things of that such. The true name of the Heavenly Father, and the true name of the only begotten Son. We won't have to teach none of these things anymore, man. So how are we in the second covenant when these things haven't even came to pass yet? Come on, we still got, other prophecies that have to be fulfilled before we can even get into the second covenant. Right? He's saying every man's brother saying, know the Lord. Yahweh. He said, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them. Do everybody know Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua? And no. So yet again, how we're in the second covenant. Continue on. He said, for I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. Let's get a quick piece of Hebrews 10 and 16. Quick piece of Hebrews 10 and 16 said, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days. After those days, said the Lord, I will put my laws into their hearts, and their minds will I write them. And their sins and iniquities will I remember no more. Now where remission of these is, there is no more offering for sin. Having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into the holiest, by the blood of Yahushua, by a new and living way, which ye have consecrated. Yeah, I believe that's what it says. Consecrated, for us through the veil that is to say his flesh, and having a high priest over the house of the Heavenly Father. And I'm just end right there, man. For me misspelling the words, man. At the end of the day, we speak Hebrew and not English, but anyway, man, the verse I was on, 16 and 17, how the Heavenly Father's going to make a covenant, with us, with the house of Israel, right? And then he go put the laws in our hearts, and man, he go write them in our minds as well. So it's like we go always know the laws and commandments, we'll never break them ever again, right? And the last precept I want is 1 Corinthians 15. We'll go all the way down to verse 50. And it reads, I started 50. He say, now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Heavenly Father, neither the corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. How are we going to be changed? Let's continue on. Verse 52. He said, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed, man. So we know when Yahweh shall come and bring judgment upon this earth, right? Come and bring that the day of doom, however you want to put it, the day of darkness, the day of doom, whatever the case may be. He's going to rise up, he's going to raise up the elect, starting with the dead, starting with the one that's in the grave, however you want to put it, right? And like he's saying they shall be changed, in the twinkling of an eye. And they're going to have incorruptible, shall be raised incorruptible. So so verse 53 said, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So these mortal bodies, these flesh, this blood, is no more. We're going to have immortal bodies, spiritual bodies, or however you want to put it, immortality, right? Immortality, everlasting life. Hey, things that's superpowers, the elect go have, the superpowers. Hey, it's going to be beautiful, but as the elect is being beamed up, their bodies are literally going to be transformed into the immortality bodies, the immortal bodies, so verse 54, so when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that it written, death is swallowed up in victory. Come on, man. Come on. So with that being said, man, these scriptures is proving that we are still not yet in the second covenant, right? Because we still are in the fleshly bodies, still in the mortal bodies. We haven't been changed yet. Hey, when he let us in being beamed up, that's when you'll see the change. That's when you'll see the immortal bodies being taken in place, right? So, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Once again, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, the great millstone, and shalom to the whole elect. Shalom.